The zones of the acrylic brush, if you didn't know, well now you know. Super important. Greg's gonna show it to you right now.
In this next educational video, I'm gonna be dissecting the body of the brush so that you have a really good understanding when it comes to sculpting acrylic nails. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I am going to take my brush, right? I'm going to spin this to a nice point. So I work with an oval brush, and as you can see, the brush, right, the whole body of this brush, it literally consists of 3 zones. And those zones are broken down into 3 areas. The very tip, the center of the brush, and the very bottom. Okay, so these 3 areas right here. You're going to have the tip, you're going to have the center, and you're going to have the base. Okay, now here's the thing. When I take my brush and I flatten it out, right? So what I mean by flattening out is if I take my brush and I pull this on my dish, you're going to notice that that point disappears. It becomes flat, it becomes wide. And the reason why we have this width is so that you can pick up acrylic on the very front end of the brush, okay? You're going to be using the center and the very base to do the shaping and the actual sculpting of the acrylic, right? The tip is used for picking up the acrylic, right, and actually controlling the cuticle area. Now this is the thing. If you look at the side of the brush, right, I'm also going to be using the side, the center of the side, and the base of the side to make it even, right, with the growth channels. I'm gonna break it down so that you understand the right positions of the brush as you are sculpting or doing overlays. So, if I have a form on the nail and I need to sculpt a tip, first thing I need to do is I need to pick up, right, the right size bead. So if I submerge my brush in the liquid, I'm going to be using, right, the very front end of the brush, right, not the side, the front end. Remember, I'm not going to be picking up acrylic with the side of the brush. How do I know what's the front or the back? You can see the brush is pinched, right? It's pinched, and what I do is I flatten out the tip, right, so that I pick it up. It doesn't matter if you're working with a round brush, right? If I'm working with a round brush, I still have to flatten out the tip in order to pick up the right bead, right? So again, if I'm working with a round brush or I'm working with an oval brush, I still have to flatten out the tip so that I could pick up the right size bead. I need to be using the very, very front end of the brush, that zone 1 area, right inside here, to pick up the right size bead. All right, so I'm gonna submerge my brush. I'm going to press it, which is going to make the front end flat. I'm going to bounce inside the powder. As you can see, this is going to add acrylic to one side of the brush. Now what I can do is I can dab off the excess if I'm going to be sculpting on the tip. Now notice, when I release it onto the form, right, I'm going to be immediately using the body, the center and the base of the brush to get it up to the side. Notice I use the side to get it even, but I'm using the center, and as I work up, I'm slowly working up to the bottom. So as I start working across, side of the brush, then I start to use the center and the base of the brush to make it even from side to side. This is really important because you don't have enough pressure, right, at the tip of the brush to make it even from side to side. You need to be using the center and the base. Now notice, when I'm actually pushing it up to make it even on the front. I'm not doing it from the front. I'm doing it from the base of the brush to make it absolutely perfect. I can put a lot of pressure at the bottom of the brush here when I'm getting my sides, tight, right? I'm not doing it from here. I'm doing it from the center so that I can maneuver the firm acrylic into position. Now here's the thing, right? Once you have the free edge built, okay, when I start applying the cuticle area, remember we want to do this effortlessly. So if you have the right consistency, you're going to be using the front end of your brush just to lightly touch around the perimeter of the acrylic as it runs into place. So again, I'm going to submerge my brush. I'm going to be picking up with the front end of the brush. I'm going to count. Right, when I get to about 3 or 4, I'm going to release it. Notice I'm using the front end of my brush to touch around the perimeter. Now, notice as it starts to run down, I'm using the front end of my brush to pull, not just from the sides, but from the front end of the bead. That way I don't pull the upper arch out of position. So I'm using the front end of the brush to lightly pull it flush into, right, the free edge. This is how you're going to be able to blend it so that you don't put too much pressure. When we're doing our blending bead, like I've explained in a previous video, what we need to do is we need to get that bead on the front end of the brush, and then I'm going to set this down, blend it back. Now here's the thing. I need to use the body of the brush from the center of the brush to be able to walk into position. Notice as I start moving down towards the tip, I'm starting to use the bottom end of the brush, the base of the brush, so that I'm able to create a nice even structure from side to side. All right, it's mostly the center and the base of the brush to be able to walk it nice and even from side to side, right? And again, the tip of the brush, if you need to add blending beads, if I need to set this down and blend back, and I need to blend in, I'm using the tip, the front end of the brush, and I'm leaving a majority of the acrylic right here. I won't be using the tip of the brush to make it even. I need to use the center, as you can see, as I'm walking from side to side, and the base, right, to press it evenly from side to side. And then by using the tip of the brush, you're going to be able to use the soft bristles to brush it evenly from cuticle to free edge, right? So understanding, right, the positions of the brush, understanding the zones of the brush and what they're used for is going to help you tremendously when you're sculpting acrylic nails.
Hey guys, what's going on? We hope you love our videos. Let us know in the comments below what you want to see next. To see more, head over here. To subscribe to our channel, head over here.